Good morning. I'm Brian Downs, and this is a Republic if you can keep it. It is about 5 minutes to 11 on October 14th, 2025. Coming to you from Orlando, Florida. Not long ago, President Donald Trump posted to social media that Governor Pritzker of Illinois, as well as Mayor Johnson of Chicago, which is of course in Illinois, should be in prison for failing to protect ICE agents. The Trump cabal is of course locked in its lunatic struggle to force the National Guard presence into Chicago, allegedly to battle crime, except that's not what the National Guard is intended to do, or what it does. The whole mess is ludicrously unconstitutional, and as usual, we may be thankful, the Trump cabal is being beaten in the courts on these grotesque antics. But the President of the United States has announced that both mayor and governor ought to be in prison. Trump, of course, has moved firmly into the phase of his authoritarian lunacy, wherein he simply shouts that anyone who has ever contradicted him or tried to put any boundary on his most disgusting impulses should be in prison, as we saw in the famous public DM to Pam Bondi insisting that she prosecute people like James Comey and Letitia James and Adam Schiff, which of course was subsequently done in the cases of Comey and James, and who knows what charges may appear against Schiff tomorrow. When Trump demands that people be prosecuted or publicly announces that they ought to be in prison, he does not actually name a crime. He doesn't say they broke this law or that one on such and such an occasion. On the 15th of last month, we know that the governor did thus and such and therefore ought to be in prison. No, he just says these people should be prosecuted. These people should be in prison because he wants them to be, because he believes, possibly because he's a horrible joke of a person, possibly because his dementia is accelerating rapidly, he believes that they ought to be in prison because he says they ought to be in prison. What he says is reality. Who should be in prison and who should not be in prison should be determined by the point of the presidential finger. This, of course, is totalitarian tyranny carried out to the last possible degree. And yet, we have a president who leans on that lever every day. Now, fortunately, to date, not many people have actually been sent to prison. Comey has not been convicted. James has not been convicted. The cases against them are extraordinarily weak. But that is no excuse for the presidential behavior. Again, every day, every afternoon, every morning, every hour, Donald Trump demonstrates why he is undeserving of the presidency and a danger to our democracy. And consequently, downstream of that, to civilization on this planet, because we, the Americans, are the example to the world. Unfortunately, that example is a tragic farce under this administration. And so, let us again cheer for the speedy removal of Donald Trump from office. Any number of impeachable offenses. Increasingly obvious that the 25th Amendment ought to be invoked, as the president is more incapable every day of performing his duties as his mind and health fail. Remember, donate to causes, vote for candidates, write to your representatives. We can act together to fix this.